Cricket presents The Warm-Up. Hey everybody, I'm Neil Beasley. We are in round 2 of the playoffs, and this is where we start to get that separation between good and great. Let's get you warmed up. Half the playoff field has been eliminated, and as we reach the area round, the intensity picks up. Let's preview some of the key second-round matchups in the lineup. We're going to start our lineup in 4A with a tasty matchup tonight at the Star. Frisco Panther Creek takes on Alvarado. Game so good? Hey, I'll be there myself. Gotta be. Despite being 10-1 in the season, the Panthers' last trip to the Star was, well, not too good. They absorbed a 35-point loss to the Salina Bobcats. However, that's not to take away from what has been a magnificent season for Panther Creek. And it all starts with Jalen Lott. The junior will most likely be a defensive back in college, but he's one of 4A's most accomplished receivers, with 82 catches and over 1,000 yards receiving. Graylin Fry is closing in on 3,000 yards passing with 33 touchdowns on the year as well. The defense has given up some points to good teams, and Alvarado is a good team. Indians 11-0 and have scored over 70 points 4 times this year, including 76 last week against Eastern Hills. Dual threat quarterback Cardea Collier is one to watch for Alvarado. He can get you with his legs or his arm. Should be a dandy in Frisco Thursday night. How about our revenge game Friday night? 3 years in the making. In 2021, Highland Park was upset in the second round by Frisco Wakeland 29-28. Well, then the Scots moved up to 6A the very next year. Well, they're back in 5A this year and ready to get their clap back against the Wolverines. This Highland Park team has been a runaway freight train this year, undefeated and only really tested once behind Buck Randall at quarterback. Their defense has also been dynamic behind senior Jack Morse. Wakeland has been blazing hot of late. They've won 6 straight and dismantled Newman Smith 42-7 in the first round. Jaden Maples has shook off the turnover bug and has zeroed in on his 2 favorite targets, Ryder Treadway and Grayson Meyer. Maples will need to have control of this offense against a scary Scott defense to pull off the upset again. But just know, the Highland Park coaching staff have not forgotten about 2021 and will look to exact that revenge Friday night at Kimbrough Stadium in Murphy. You want to know who else is red hot? How about the Hebron Hawks? They won their last 3 games in dominating fashion, including a huge beatdown of Rock Hill. Patrick Creighton Jr. has established himself as the leader of this offense behind center, and they'll need to be able to keep pace with a high-powered Arlington Bowie offense this Friday night at Dragon Stadium in Southlake. The Hawks have mixed the pass and the run effectively with Creighton and Ison McCray Jones, who has over 1,000 yards on the ground. X factor could be Baylor commit Bo Onu at safety. Now for the Vols, it's all about offense, and more offense. They have been able to keep up score for score with just about anybody behind tailback Darian Bowers, who's closing in on 2,000 yards. Larry Nichols and Dylan Talley have combined almost 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns in the passing game. Key for them is to make a stop, any kind of stop, because if that happens, Bowie could be victorious. If not, maybe a long night.
The warm-up is presented by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket.
At Cricket, get free Samsung Galaxy phones.
Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
Our Inside High School insider, Matt Diggs, gives us his thoughts on some of the key matchups in the area round in the picks.
We are in round 2 of the playoffs here in the area, and surprisingly, we actually have better first round games than we do second round games. So we have 4 big games we're going to talk about here in the Professor Diggs picks, and I think one of the best games in this week is West Mesquite versus Midlothian. West Mesquite was the beneficiary of 3 turnovers, but Greygard still had over 160 yards rushing against West Mesquite. You know Midlothian is going to limit the mistakes, and you know that they're going to be able to run the ball. Can Midlothian's triple option trip up West Mesquite and their defense and their coaching staff? I think it can. Bo Wendell, the coach's son, is playing fantastic right now. Caden Gibson is one of a cadre of running backs. I think Midlothian, if they can stick to who they are and avoid silly mistakes in the passing game, which they don't utilize very much, should be good enough to beat West Mesquite. Demetrius Ballard has to have a great game for West Mesquite, and he is a very good quarterback. Kamari Carter is the running back of note for West Mesquite. Can those two produce a flawless game? I think that's West Mesquite's opportunity to win the game. Do you remember when a favored Longview squad came to Kincaid and played a black and orange team and managed to lose? I remember that game. It's what set off Aledo's most recent run, and I think you're going to see the same thing again. Longview struggled against Naaman Forest, and the offense and defense was just all out of whack. I think Lancaster just has too much. They've got Carter Jones at quarterback. They've got Isaiah Lee, who had over 200 yards against Tarker Heights, at running back. They've got Emmanuel Choice. Longview can pick one thing that they can shut down, but they can't shut everything down. If Longview plays the way they did against Naaman, I think Lancaster has a great chance to win this game, so I'm taking Lancaster. Wakeland and Highland Park will give us a little bit of memories of 2021 when Wakeland played a perfect game and won 29-28. You might think it might be Jaden Maples versus Buck Randall, but for me, it's Highland Park's defense that shut out Leandro Rouse against Wakeland. I think as Highland Park's defense continues to play at that high level, they're going to be hard to beat, so I'm going to take Highland Park in this game. A big game on Thursday night that I plan on attending, Panther Creek versus Alvarado. Alvarado's 11-0, but who have they played? Panther Creek finds ways to win close games, competitive games, and I think that at the start, they're going to have some magic. Braylon Fry has been great this year, but the wide receivers, who does Alvarado have that can answer these wide receivers with Jalen Lott and Kristen Trickett? I think they're going to have enormous nights, and I like Panther Creek to win a close game. That's the MO of Panther Creek, but at the start, I think Panther Creek will survive in advance. I'm the Professor, and those are my Week 2 playoff picks.
We caught up to a big-time athlete from the Metroplex in this week's Recruiting Trail.
Ayden Webb, safety. I say good coaches, coaches that'll stay there. But when I get there, all the way till I leave, that'll help me get better in my future. I want to make an impact. Like, I want to come there, just start just doing me to have an impact from a freshman all the way up. So on the field, I'm confident in my ability, confident in my team, and real talk. Like, I like to talk. Off the field, I say, just quiet, do me, and just really play the game. Say, really, really passionate about the sport. I'm trying to get all-state football, get the all-state reward. I had all-district and all-city last year. Trying to get all-state for football, and off the field, I say keep my grades up, keep my GPA above 3.5. Legacy on the kids that's coming up, you want to look up to me, be like, I want to be like that guy, number 2 on the field, I want to be like him.
The warm-up is presented by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket.
At Cricket, get free Samsung Galaxy phones.
Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Golden Chick. One taste and you're golden. And by Kubota, the #1 selling compact tractor in Texas. For details, visit gokubota.com. Kubota, together we do more.
Our producer, Ward Fasold, caught up with Coppell head coach Antonio Wiley to get his opinions on the Cowboys' playoff journey in this week's Media Day segment.
All right, we are joined with Antonio Wiley, head coach over there at the 11-0 Coppell Cowboys. Coach, you're motoring right along. You've had your tough games. We talked back at the Waxahachie game. You had to go into overtime to pull that one out. Last week, you went in the locker room and you were down a couple of touchdowns. Then all of a sudden, never missing Eddie Griffin out there did his thing and led the offense with that powerful running game. How do you think things are clicking right now for the Cowboys going into round 2?
Man, I mean, we still yet to put a complete game together and play our best football, but we've played good football when we've had to come out on top. And, I can't say enough about how resilient these young men are. You can't ever count the Coppell Cowboys out because our team doesn't know how to quit.
Exactly. And before we go too far into it, let's talk a little bit about Lake Highlands. It's another gritty squad. You guys may have won 11 in a row. They've won 8 in a row here ever since they hit district play. A gritty team that plays some solid defense. What's it going to take to get past that team this week?
Man, they're a physical, well-coached ball club. I think we've got to go out and play our best football, play clean. Don't start out making any huge mistakes because they're a team that can capitalize on those mistakes. I think we've got to do a great job against the run game, and we've got to find a way to run the ball and keep Eddie upright in the pocket. I think we'll have a good shot.
And a lot of people talk about that passing part of Eddie's game because he's clipped the 3,000 games. He's got like 39 touchdowns. But the fact that you got that 3-headed monster back there in the backfield, including Eddie in that mix as well with Amarian and Josh, it's got to be a luxury if one guy's not having that big game to be able to rely on 2 others to get ground and pound there. And you certainly did in the third quarter last week.
Absolutely. I mean, we came out. The O-line did a great job of getting push and creating rush lanes for Edward and for Omarion and Josh. They all had a good day out of the backfield. And, you kind of see those guys. And, that's where the games are won late in the playoff season is in the trenches. And if you can find a way to be successful in the trenches and grind it out on the ground, you go back, no plays were as big as the ones we had down the stretch where we were able to, grind out a few first downs and eat up some clock and limit their opportunity and time late in the game.
And you can't take away from what your defense did, especially in that third quarter. You guys may have been firing shots, but Prosper wasn't able to. When the defense needs to step up, maybe that's the deal what you were talking about. We just need them to play 2 halves. But when they're playing that good half, if you can make that into 2, your defense is hard to gain yards on.
Man, we've got a lot of talented young men that fly around, play physical. I mean, we spent a lot of time in this offseason trying to, improve on our strength in the trenches and that kind of stuff. And I think our players are disciplined football players who believe in playing gap sound football, and they don't mind playing physical with you when you come in, and that's the type of team you want to be. And, hats off to them. They flew around in that third quarter, like you said, none bigger than that because we knew we had to come out and get stops because we were already down 2 touchdowns, and they came out and got a bunch of stops. I think Prosper's first real offensive success was late in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly right. All right, Coach. Hey, we're looking forward to that game with Lake Highlands. Good luck Friday, and we will talk to you again down the line.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, that'll do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. We hope you are now warmed up for some Texas high school football playoffs round 2.